In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Hi everyone, Nestor Licanto here with another edition of In Full Zoom, and I'm pleased to bring in our guest this week, are all members of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, which just impaneled a new board of directors and executive council officers. And let me introduce you to the incoming president, Laura Nelson Cepeda of GTA. She's the Public Relations and Corporate Affairs Manager. And we have Bernie Valencia, Vice President and General Manager of Matson, who is the Vice President of the incoming board. And we have Rene Logie, who is the new Executive Director of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
All right, Laura, let me start with you. Just give us kind of a high-level overview of what the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce's goals are for this, what will be, I guess, the start of our, hopefully, recovery from that horrid pandemic of 2020. So, Laura, what do we have to look forward to from the Guam Women's Chamber?
Well, thank you, Nestor. So the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, we are definitely dialed into the recovery of local businesses as well as our economy. We have been working with the Business Recovery Task Force since last year. And I want to say that last year we've kind of made that our pivotal turning point to help and assist a lot of businesses in moving forward and getting the executive orders understood for them so that they're able to navigate and pivot during the new restrictions or the new executive order on that. And we would love for our organization to continue dialing in all these businesses and helping them through this time, through that median. We also have really exciting things coming up, like our Women's Business Center. We were hoping to open it last year, but of course, COVID happened. So this year, we're going to be opening our Women's Business Center, so stay tuned for that. We also have this week, in regards to the PPP, we do know that I want to say the week of January 11th, they are reopening the PPP for both new and existing borrowers. So we are holding a Facebook Live session on our Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce Facebook page for that. For anyone, it's open to anyone, not only members, also non-members. For anyone who has questions and answers, we're going to be hosting Kenneth Lujan, our SBA Guam branch manager. So please stay tuned for that. As well as upcoming activities. Our golf tournament is still hot and heavy, as well as our Fanatsu Famalawan. We're going to be starting ticket sales the first week of February. It's going.
Lost her.
Going to take place on April 8th. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I've got a bad connection on my end, so if you're falling in and out, I'm sure it's loud and clear where you guys are at.
Not a problem.
But,
yeah. Go ahead, Nestor.
Yeah, I wanted to, maybe, I know Bernie said she didn't want to talk too much, wanted to defer to you guys because she's always on. But Bernie, just give you a quick chance to talk about what you think be the most important things for the Women's Chamber to push this particular recovery year.
Yeah, well, thanks, Nestor. As you know, we were really active in 2020, and I think last year is where the Guam Women's Chamber really showed that we can add some value to our members and help the community. So I'm so excited to have both Laura and Rene on board. Right, I feel like I'm the old one in this group. So, but it's going to be really important to help not only our members, but we've been working with the Guam Chamber of Commerce and Mary Rhodes at GHRA for three of us to combine and figure out how we help all businesses. And you might even notice some of them aren't even members. We're just, how do we help every business recover, and how do we help put together plans in place to help them reopen. Some of them have not reopened. So I think that's what's really important. And then getting them, a lot of them are small businesses. A lot of our members are small proprietors. So helping them, as Laura had said, understanding the PPP, understanding what's out there to help them, aside from recover, do any other business plans or business help that they need.
All right. And Rene, you as the executive director are going to be the one that's going to kind of coordinate all of this activity. So talk a little bit about that, and also your membership drive and renewal.
Yeah, well, I think Laura and Bernie spoke a little bit at length about the business recovery and our plans for that. We will be very active this year with all of our workshops and membership meetings. They'll be very centric on current events and things that are relevant, topics that are relevant to the community at the moment. Like we mentioned, the PPP workshop is coming up. We also have a workshop for business law and compliance. There's been some changes recently about LLC fees and applying for that. So that's something that we want to discuss in the near future so that people that are looking to start something new can jump on that. But definitely focusing on a lot that's really going to make the organization a good value for all of our members. And speaking on that, we are trying to get members to register by or renew by January 31st. We do have an early bird rate going on this year through the end of the year. You can find that on our website, guamwomenschamber.com. The rates are there. You can even renew online if that works best for you. For existing members, we will be sending out invoices throughout the week in the month, try and remind you to get on that before the rates go up February 1st. But we definitely have a lot of value this year. We're working on renewing our affinity program to hopefully get some discounts for our members. And we also are very active with our social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We've been doing a lot of features for our members. If they have any specials going on, we've been happy to promote our members online just so that they can get extra exposure to our community.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
All right, Laura, as a public relations director and corporate citizenship director over at GTA, what would be your pitch to women business leaders out there who have not joined the Women's Chamber of Commerce? What do you say to them? Hey, come on and join.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important for them to know that the Guam Women's Chamber is here to support them. We're here to help them start their businesses, recover from whatever state they were in last year. And we're definitely here to help them build sustainable long-term businesses. I think it's so important as an economy that we continue to support and push local businesses. So our Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce this year, we're really dialed into also helping push legislative initiatives such as the Women's Set Aside It's bill, which is like a procurement, right? The federal government does it already today, and hopefully we can follow the same scheme for the government side to help local businesses, women businesses, to kind of get on that same level playing field with other businesses on island. As well as we are continuing to take the grassroots approach. We've been very creative last year, and we're going to get even more creative this year in creating both public and private partnerships on island and nationally. Last year, we were able to work with LISC, they're a national company, and we worked with them to help one of our Guam Women's Chamber receive PPP through additional funding they had from their PPP. So we're going to continue to do that, and we're going to continue to develop these partnerships so that we can help a lot of our business owners get funding they need, get the resources they need, as well as kind of move through this time as we, go through all the different changes economically and as a government. So please join us. We'd love to help you.
Yeah. And Rene, that's one of the advantages too. I would imagine that you would be able to leverage, your associations with other women's chamber of commerces or other women's groups from the mainland.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to really promote women in business here locally and do what we can to support the community as a whole. We kind of need to get on recovery track and work together, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I add to that, Nestor?
Sure. Jump in there, Bernie.
Yeah, this is my third year on the board. First, I was voluntold by all the wonderful women there, the new board, become vice president. So And then just outside of all the great business stuff they talked about and commerce, and that's really what we're here for, I have personally developed great long-lasting friendships with the Women's Chamber. Holly, Jennifer, the former officers, they're just a great group of people. And imagine to create friendships and long-lasting friendships or relationships through virtual most of the last year, right? Everything was virtual, but I know that I've created lifelong friends, Jane Forrest, on all those guys. Whether or not they're on the board, we're going to continue to help each other and figure out how we make everybody else succeed. So outside of all the great business stuff that we hope we could provide our members and potential members, just a great group of women on the board right now.
Yep, Bernie, I wanted you, maybe if you could just talk a little bit on your personal side about you are in a high-ranking position in an industry that is, I would say, generally dominated by men. So what's your experience been as a woman executive in a male-predominant industry?
Well, that's been all my career, Nestor. I was an aircraft mechanic at first, so that's right into it, right? And then I worked at Mobile for a little bit, same thing, and then at Matson now, right? I think it's really about the culture of the company you work for. A lot of you see Matson all over the community, and it's not really about whether you're male or female. It's really what you bring to the table, right? It's first, your abilities first, and then after that, everything else flows. So I don't see it as an impediment. And I came from a much larger organization coming to Matson, so I thought I was able to bring some good experience. Coming from ExxonMobil was the largest company in the world, right? Coming to Matson, but a completely different type of company, completely different type of corporate culture, and it just fits the way I am as a person, whether from a business side and from a personal side. So I love it. Matson's a great company to work for. Thank you.
Okay. Laura, let's dig deeper into the WBC, this Women's Business Center. What's that all about?
So our Women's Business Center, it's located in Agana, and we are actually hoping to open our doors this year to provide resources and a working space for a lot of women who don't have those means to conduct their business operations. And we have a lot of great ideas on the table. I don't want to divulge any of them too much. Renee and our committee lead, Jessica Leon Guerrero, of course, she's from M80, so it's going to look great. But please stay tuned to social media. We're definitely going to be highlighting all the activities that's going to take place in the Women's Business Center. And most importantly, how we can help business owners utilize this space for their personal development as they grow as a business and a company.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Okay, and one of the traditional responsibilities of chambers of commerce is to, relate to the government. That's, I don't want to say necessary evils of business, but you have to deal with the government at some point. Talk about the advocacy issues that you listed for us, the women set aside, increasing daycare block grant, the minimum wage increase pause, and the ABC bill. And let me start with you, Renee.
Yeah, so we have some information based off the last census, which we're going off of and hoping to receive new information from the 2020 census. But basically, there's a disparity between the number of women-owned businesses and male-owned businesses on Guam. And there's also a pretty large gap between pay or equity pay between the two. So one of the things that we're doing is just trying to work to kind of balance that by allowing for certain women-owned businesses to get points for getting contracts, government contracts for them, so that they have the opportunity to also gain revenue as well. So we're just trying to close the gap a little bit there. We're still working on that plan and drafting up some documents to submit to the legislature. So it's still a plan in place right now. We will have more on that throughout the year. And then also trying to work on and increasing the daycare block grant for a lot of single parents, single mothers out there. I believe there is federal money out there for that. So we're going to work on that to help women that are struggling right now.
Okay, who wants to
Did you guys want to add to that, Laura or Bernie?
Well, I was going to ask who wants to weigh in on the minimum wage increase pause. What's the Women's Chamber's position on that?
So we are advocating and lobbying to put a pause to it. We're looking at 3 to 6 months. That's kind of what we had set in stone. We do know that the legislature is pushing for a 12-month pause. So, you know, we're definitely gathering more information as to what's best for our economy, what's best for businesses. But we are definitely lobbying to put a pause to that because a lot of businesses are in the recovery state, and it would really hurt, and we would hate for businesses to kind of have to choose which employees to keep on board. Our unemployment rate is obviously tripled in the past year. So we're trying to prevent that from happening this year and try to open more jobs and get the economy back in order.
One of the things that incoming or President-elect Joe Biden has said is, and he's had this position before, he wants to increase the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now, obviously, there is resistance to that at this particular point because of the pandemic's impact on economic recovery. But in general, is the Women's Chamber, and I'm putting you on the spot here, is the Women's Chamber in support of a $15 minimum wage?
Maybe
I'll let Bernie chime in on that.
Anyone?
Yeah, I could probably answer that. I mean, we actually have to look at the economy, right? $15 is a lot, and it's also important to know that a minimum wage should not necessarily be your career. A minimum wage is to get you started in a job and move forward. You want people to get educated. You want people to gain good experience so they can move forward and make much more, right? $15 should not be a target wage just because people want to make that much money. They should be aiming to make lots more money than that. So we'll watch it and we'll see what happens. But in general, we need to think about the businesses and whether or not they can survive. 15 times 0 is 0. So you can make it $100 an hour, but you know there won't be any businesses open. So we just have to be smart about it, and we continue to talk to the legislature and the governor and see how it goes. And so you know you're talking about government and advocacy. We had a few things on the list, and I don't know why. I think you guys set me up, but the last one on the list is the ABC law.
Yeah, and
anyone who knows me seems like this was a setup that you guys planned, but that we worked a lot with the HRA and the chamber last year to help to work with the legislature to try and change the laws. And this was really about low-hanging fruit. If you read the current ABC laws, a lot of them are age-old laws. So some of it needed to be changed, mainly because there are things that occur already that are supposedly against the law, but that are happening. As an example, buckets of beer, assuming the bars were open, right? Buckets of beer, that's considered stacking. We tried to do that. But also, what we asked the legislature to do was try to help the businesses, help the struggling restaurants and anyone else by allowing takeout and having strict rules about takeout alcohol with the restaurants. That gives them the ability to generate a few $100s more of revenue in any businesses that currently will take any penny they can get. So that was one of the amendments we had proposed outside of. There were several things, a lot of low-hanging fruit, and we're going to continue to work with the senators to try and get that passed because, as we all know, we're not going to recover today or 1 month or 2 months. It's going to take all year. So any revenue we can help get, but also keep all the rules in place and make sure we don't have any drunk drivers out there on the road. We're going to continue to try and help bring more revenue to those restaurants.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah, and you know, one of the issues that's always talked about when we speak of economic recovery on Guam is the tourism industry. I know that the GBB, the GHRA, and the airport have been working hard in planning for that eventual day. But what are Laura and Rene and Bernie? What are your thoughts on the return of the tourism industry? How long do you think it's going to take, and how quickly do you think we'll reach back into those numbers that were, in 2019 were record numbers? Unfortunately, we got hit by the pandemic, and so that kind of put a stop to all that. Laura, let me start with you.
Well, I really want to say that when it comes to things like this and any economic lobbying or legislative initiatives that we push, we really kind of sit there and we study kind of what's happening nationally and globally today. And we also sit and talk with the legislatures and with our government, with ADALU. And we like to sit to the drawing board to come up with really great solutions that's going to help our economy move forward. I think it's safe to say that the whole world is kind of going to take some time to build that recovery state. Our Asian surrounding countries are, they're in a different state right now. So that's definitely going to affect our tourism on island. So like I said, we just got to put all the pieces on the board, get creative, and see where we can kind of move together as a community. And that's the most important thing that I would love us to continue to push, is that we continue to collaborate and move together, because that's the only way that we're going to help our economy rebuild and grow.
Yeah.
Rene
or Bernie, you got any thoughts?
I think that was well said. I just think it depends a lot on the tourists that do come here. Japan, Korea, they're going through a high spike right now. We're on the right track. We're doing a lot of the right things. So we may be well and ready to open soon, but they may not be able to come because of their high number of cases right now. So it'll just be a lot of research, a lot of working together, and a lot of what Laura said, working with the legislature and government, GVB, to see what we can do and just make sure that we're ready when everybody is ready to travel again.
Yeah. Bernie?
Yeah, Nestor, none of us in this room right now, or even probably in the Women's Chamber, are experts in that industry. But certainly Holly is part of the governor's economic recovery team, and I'm also on the business economic recovery team. So we'll continue to collaborate with them, like Laura had said, right? So we will learn from them. I think one thing that the Guam Women's Chamber can do to help once that strategy is laid out, because I think the numbers were less than 100,000 this year, and that's dismal, right? But what the Women's Chamber can do is, you've seen how great we have social media and how good we've been out in 2020. We can certainly help GVB and every other organization get the message out there and put out help with that platform and strategy. That's where the Women's Chamber can certainly help with that recovery.
All right, we got a few minutes left, so let me just go around to the three of you and ask you maybe what you think, just from your personal perspective, how economic recovery is going to fare in 2021. And Madam President, Laura, let me start with you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? You kind of froze.
Yeah, I just wanted. Oh, yeah, sorry. Just from your personal perspective, what are your thoughts on how well the economic recovery will fare in 2021?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I would like to say that we have great people on the recovery task force in motion. Past President Holly does sit on the business recovery task force, and their heart is really in this community and helping the businesses get back to a stable state, and to not only be stable but to be successful long term. So I want to be hopeful and positive that we can all say that we are in this state right now, but I think we have the opportunity to rebuild our economy together, and that's the most exciting thing I want to say. And there's people that are sitting in these recovery task force groups that are so dialed into making that happen for our island, for the people, not just for women in business, not just for businesses solely, but for our economy as a whole and our whole community. Even last year, we worked very closely with the the Guam Child Care Association to help make childcare an essential business so that they can reopen, because obviously parents need to get to work. And if no one's watching their kids, how are they supposed to come back into their offices or come back to the job? So things like that, we're going to continue to drive with the Guam Women's and Chamber of Commerce. We're going to continue to bring that unique perspective on island and connecting the dots for everyone so that we can move together and actually recover to fruition and build and grow together. So that's just my personal perspective. We have amazing women on the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, not only in our board, but our members. And these women are trailblazing the way in every industry, in every public and private sector. And we are dialed in to make change. So I'm really excited to see what's to come for 2021.
All right, Bernie, really quickly, is there light at the end of the tunnel in 21?
Gosh, it's going to be a long, slow road to recovery. Laura said it all. She said it best. And if there's anyone in the right place right now, it's Laura and Rene to help with that. And I can go back and golf with you, Nestor.
Right on. And Rene, you're gonna get the final word. What's your thoughts on 21? Positive outlook?
I think we got to stay positive. I mean, it's the only way to really work together and work through is just keep thinking, how can we change? How can we adapt and work together? And what can we do to make it out the other side on the positive end? Just keep thinking positive.
All right. That's right. Let's support local, stay positive.
Yeah.
We're going to get through this. Thank you very much, ladies, and congratulations on the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, new board elections. That's our report. That's our show for this week. I'm Nestor Licanto. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week on In Full Zoom.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.